Hello, and welcome to the Ghouls vs. Humans Multiverse Class Guides. My name is Doompunk, and today we are taking a look at the protagonist from Ghouls 4-3, a cunning, bow-wielding human with superb situational awareness and elemental-tipped arrows, Hunter.
Covering fire!
Before we begin, I'd like to address something important. This mod is still actively changing, and the creator, Lunachi, adjusts classes every patch to bring strong classes more in line and buff weaker ones to see more use in matches. With that said, Sajas was just changed, so what I'm going to do is update the description of every video if there was a class changed and put exactly what changed, and I'll include numbers too. With Sajas, his normal damage resistance was nerfed, but his normal arrows, fire, and other damage weaknesses were buffed. In the description of that video, you will see the correct damage numbers. It would be easier than making a separate video covering changes specifically. With that out of the way, back to Hunter. Starting with basic stats, Hunter has 100 HP and moves really fast. He has a slight resistance to normal damage, normal being any attack not specified with a damage type, for reference think most ghoul melee attacks, and no weaknesses to anything. Hunter has one main weapon, that being his bow, but he has a few tricks up his sleeve with his elemental tipped arrows. He starts with 40 arrows that can be used with any arrow type. The first arrow type are normal arrows. These arrows wind up very quick and do not slow Hunter down. The others do slow him down when you hold them. Normal arrows do a solid 35 damage per arrow and have a great knockback effect to them. If you press Alt Fire, his normal magic is a blast of energy that sends ghouls back and hurts them too, doing around 40 damage point blank. It has a decent range to it, but the further you are, the less effective it will be, damage and knockback wise. Next up, fire arrows shoot basically a fireball. They have a medium windup and deal between 60 to 90 damage, though keep in mind Choke and many other ghouls have a weakness to fire, so normally these would do between 50 to 75 damage. It also has an AoE to it, so you can hit near a ghoul and it'll still hurt them, and you can damage multiple ghouls at once, and kill them. Pressing alternate fire brings out his fire magic, which is like the normal magic, but it surrounds you in fire for about 1.5 seconds, damaging and pushing ghouls slightly who come near you. If ghouls are right on top of you, this can do some serious damage. Normal magic and fire magic are great choices against creepers, by the way. Next up, ice arrows shoot ice shards in a shotgun-like pattern. Unlike any other arrow, these ones have an arc to them, so they eventually fall to the ground if they don't hit a wall. They have a medium windup and do between 65 to 90 damage if all shards hit. Keep in mind, Choke has a massive resistance to ice, so normally these would do between 162 to 225 damage. That's crazy. Also, if any ice shard lands, the ghouls will be slowed for a few seconds. Pressing alternate fire brings out ice magic, which creates ice shards on the ground. If any ghoul steps on these, it will hurt and slow them for a bit. Also, if you stand still, it creates more ice shards around you, but if you're moving, it spreads them out and I believe creates more than it normally would. The ice shard pattern it creates is based on where you're moving. Last but not least, we have lightning arrows, which is essentially like a railgun for Hunter. These have a slow windup, but do around 44 damage a hit and are pinpoint accurate. These are, in my opinion, the most fun and satisfying arrows to use. They're not the deadliest damage-wise, but they are the most consistent, as it is a railgun shot flying from your bow. This means too that if you have two ghouls lined up, it'll go right through and hit both, and the best of luck to you if you can ever kill two ghouls with one lightning. Or in this case, 3. Pressing Alt Fire with lightning will cast lightning magic, which shoots down 4 bolts of lightning from the sky on your current position, damaging ghouls who dare come near it. The neat thing about this is the bolts hitting the ground entirely depends on where the ceiling is. If you're in an enclosed space, the bolts come down basically instantly, but if you're out in the open, it can take a while for the bolts to reach your current position depending on where the skybox is. If you're in the open, you really gotta time it to make it count. Arrows can be picked up from the ground too, with any arrow type fired, so they don't have to be normal arrows. When Hunter runs out of arrows, he can also essentially craft them. How you do this is by switching back to your normal arrows and firing them at the ground, or at ghouls, but I don't recommend this. You can shoot as many as you like, and it's as easy as running over the arrows you made by firing them into the ground. With this, he basically has infinite ammo. I'd like to touch up on elemental arrows for a quick second. Almost every ghoul has weaknesses in some way. Some ghouls may be weak to fire, ice, or lightning, which would just be railguns in general. If you know ghoul weaknesses, you'll know which arrow to use on which ghoul to kill them the quickest. But always remember, a healthy balance of arrows is best. I cannot stress enough the importance of knowing these classes. It will take a while, but watch my guides or ask questions. I will always be available to help you figure stuff out. And that's what I'm here for, after all. With weapons out of the way, we have the strongest goddamn ability in the game. I cannot stress this enough. Hunters, please use your automap. Please, I'm begging you. The automap is Hunter's only ability, but a godsend of one. It allows Hunter to see any human and ghoul on the map, as well as any decorations like trees and such. Not only that, but you can also see any projectile that's flying on the map too. See a creeper? You'll see a stun ball's thrown. See an Elusia? You'll see that nuke fly across the map when it happens. In this clip right here, already from spawn, I can tilt my camera to the left and see what 4 ghouls I would be up against. This information is unmatched and unrivaled by any other class in the game. If you know how to utilize the map well, then it's game over for the ghouls. Even on invisible ghouls, such as Yurei, Undeath, Cloaked Clowny, or a Cloaked Chiboa, you will still know exactly where they are at all times with this thing. It is that powerful. Please use it. Please. I can't stress enough the wasted potential if you're not using the automap. This is what makes Hunter who he is. Here's a better showcase of what the automap looks like with bots, and you'll see it in the gameplay in the background too. This is what you see on the automap that helps you determine where the ghouls are, who they're going after, if they're getting healed by someone, where they're going, all useful information that will help you slaughter them. When Whiteface and Creeper fire their projectiles, you can also see them on the automap as well, which is really handy if a ghoul fires a projectile down a doorway and it would have hit you if you didn't see it coming on the automap. So this all sounds great and really strong, you might be thinking, and you might just ask, Doompunk, how did you get your automap set up this way? It doesn't block your vision, and you can see both the automap and your POV just fine. To that I say, here's how you do it, and I highly encourage you do the same. Okay, so for this section of the video, I'm going to show you how to get the automap to just have the black lines. This way you can most effectively use your automap as a hunter. Alright, so taking a look at my automap settings. Alright, so I have the automap to rotate whenever I look. I have overlay only is what you want in GVH, because if you have overlay and normal, if you want to go back to actually being able to see, you have to double tap, and that can be annoying sometimes, so I just leave it on overlay only. Textured display, I think you need this if I'm not mistaken. No, you don't, because there's no textures. I mean, I just have black outlines, and then I have follow player. So, custom colors. This is where you want your overlay mode right here to be. So I have, it doesn't really matter about the U part because you can see, but I have one-sided walls, two-sided walls with different floors, two-sided walls with different ceilings, two-sided walls with 3D floors, and not yet seen walls all to black. And locked doors, teleporters, and secret sectors, secret trigger lines and stuff, that doesn't matter. What you want to change all this to black. And the reason why is because my automap is completely black. This helps me see. Because let's, for example, change this to red. I don't know. Let's do red for everything. You see how much of a mess that becomes to, like, actually... It's a lot more distracting and it's harder to see when you have, like, a shit ton of color on the screen. So I always set my colors to black. And this way it'll make it easy for me to see. I'll know what I'm doing. And the automap will get the most usage. The best usage, I should say. But yeah, that's basically it. Just to recap real quick. Rotate automap, yes. Follow player, yes. Overlay only. Go to customize map controls, or no, sorry. Go to set custom colors, go all the way down to overlay mode, and change these to black. And then the rest really doesn't matter. And that's how you make the best usage of your automap as Hunter. Before we move on to playstyles and tips, one last noteworthy thing to mention is Hunter makes no noise when running, only when he lands from a decent height. Now, how do you be an effective Hunter? I like to play Hunter with the automap almost entirely on. It lets me know where to go to catch ghouls out, where I can go that's safe and won't get me killed, who I can focus down, etc. It's extremely handy and honestly makes Hunter so much fun to play. Automap aside, the key to success with Hunter is utilizing all 4 arrow types in tandem with each other, and knowing which arrow to use on which ghoul. I can spend a whole 5 minutes telling you what each arrow is best against what ghoul, however I would encourage you go through Slade and find out what each ghoul is weak to, or check out my ghoul guides when they come out, as I'll list their weaknesses there, or you can also ask any questions too, I'll gladly help you out. If you've watched my Sajas guide, you'll know normal arrows work best against him, and it kills him in 2 hits. Maybe 3 or 4 with the next patch though, because Sajas is getting buffed with his weaknesses. Also, just because choke is weak to fire doesn't mean you can't still use the other 3 arrow types. That's why I encourage utilizing all of them. Sometimes I do catch myself using only 1 arrow type, like lightning, for the whole game. It's not the most effective I can be, but I am addicted to lightning. Also, don't forget to utilize arrow magic too. In classic GVH, the magic is pretty bad, but here they all have their purpose and use to make each one viable. Like always, aim and movement helps a lot, especially with Hunter because most of his arrows are projectiles. Know how to utilize that automap and every arrow type, and you'll be on your way towards ghoul destruction. Knowledge is half the battle, applying that knowledge and putting it to good use is the other half. You are very fast and very versatile, so make sure you make good use with what you've been given. Be aggressive, be sneaky, be cunning. Be what the situation calls for you to be, and you'll do the best you can that way. How would I rate Hunter? Well, simply put, in my opinion, Hunter is the best class on the human team, and as such he gets the only S+ rating any human will get. Hunter's automap is what makes him the most powerful class when you learn to use it well. That knowledge is so powerful that it will win you games. It will, trust me. That said, his arrows are also very versatile, offering up different damage types that can be utilized against every ghoul, as well as utilities such as knockback and slowdown. Hunter is a class that is often played by players who don't understand that Multiverse's Hunter, when actually learned, is a fucking beast. This isn't classic GVH. Spamming ice and lightning all game won't win you games. Your automap and knowledge of ghoul weaknesses will. We're 2 humans into the roster and already found our best human too, but trust me, the rest of the roster is still well worth checking out and playing, and we'll get there. Thank you for tuning in to the Ghouls vs Humans Multiverse class guide on Hunter. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Tune in next time where we'll be taking a look at the floor-hugging, soul-sucking pancake from the Ghouls Forest, ready to spook some humans and take some names, Creeper. This is Doompunk, signing off.